To the Secrets of Fat Loss for Professionals webinar, or we're about to begin. So I'm your host, Leigh Bola with LTA Performance, where I help individuals lose fat, boost energy, and gain confidence to live the healthy lifestyle they would like. So you're probably wondering what you will discover from this webinar. What will you learn? All right, so what will you discover? So in this next 60 minutes, you will learn the exact strategies that I use with my clients to help them lose fat for good without the restrictive practices. So before you begin, it's important that we do know that you will learn how to do this for good and you don't have to deal with some of the restrictiveness that goes with it. So before we begin, make sure that you do turn off any notifications you have on your phone so you won't be distracted and any noise that you might have in the background, to make sure that you silence that. And make sure you do stick around the whole time so you can make sure that you will learn the details how to receive my blueprint to go from unfit to fit as a busy professional. I use the exact system that I do with my clients. So very important that you do stick around for that. You might not be familiar with me, so you might be wondering who I am. So for me, I got into fitness at a young age, and then playing football from that age to college is what got me into it and where I developed my passion for fitness. It was there in college where I learned the importance of a healthy lifestyle and what it could bring you. Then from there, it started to build where I wanted to help others. I wanted to make a mission. So for the last 7+ years, that's what I have been doing, is impacting professionals so they can make a difference in their lives to live the healthy lifestyle that they want. And that's what I'm here for tonight, to make sure I deliver on that, to make an impact for you. So you're probably wondering, what are you currently missing that you do need to have that lifestyle you want, right? What are you currently missing? This is something that probably are reflecting on and wondering what are the pieces that you're going to need to make this happen. This is something that's very important that you do this, because you have to kind of gauge what are you missing. And this is the reason why you're here to listen to this is, what is the clarity that you need to be able to have that lifestyle that you want. So that's something that you should be thinking. So I want you to do is imagine what it would be like if you could keep fat off for good and you wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. You would be able to have the healthy lifestyle you want. Can you see what yourself would look like in the mirror having the body that you dream of? What would that do for you? Now, during this presentation, you're going to learn how to lose fat for good without restricted dieting practices. This is what's so important, and this is what the secrets of fat loss are going to be centered around, is how you're going to be able to do that. Very important that you are able to do that. So what I'm going to use to go into the secrets of fat loss, I'm going to use one of my successful clients, Jeff, and I'm going to use Jeff to explain how he was able to implement those secrets of fat loss with them and what we did with that. So to give a little background on who Jeff is, for the last few years, he has been a realtor. And as you know, being a realtor is a very busy lifestyle, right? If you want to be successful, it's going to be very busy. So there's those things that you have to go through from that is going to cause you to be busy. So it's very important that you're going to be able to manage some things. So very easy to go through the weight cycle, which most people are going through, this cycle of weight of going through these things. So very important that you stop it in the weight cycle that you may go through. So even before Jeff had become a realtor, for the 11 years that he has spent in the restaurant business as a bartender, he saw his weight cycle. So he had gone in that 11-year span from 173 to 225. which isn't something out of the norm and something that you don't see because, as you know, over time, especially with weight, it's really a compound effect of it. So year after year of doing that, that's how you really go in the weight cycle, and that causes some things. So over the last few years, Jeff did go down a little bit in weight, but he knew he needed to do more to be able to get to the lifestyle he wanted. That's when Jeff got in contact with me, and that's when things started to change, which was the right decision for Jeff. So before I began the 16-week transformation, this is where Jeff was. So after the 16-week transformation, you can see where Jeff is there. You can see he definitely lost some fat. He got leaner, and that was where it had all started for him to have the lifestyle that he wants to have. So after the 16-week transformation, as you can see, Jeff was down 23 pounds, which is really good because he had to cross the 200-pound barrier, which is a milestone, and it could be very difficult. It's one of the things that to surpass. So Jeff was able to do that, so it was a really awesome job there by him. And through that, he was able to improve his energy. So with improved energy, you are having the things that you want to be able to do without feeling tired, right? Your productivity at work would go up for having more energy, which is awesome. So you can be more productive, which helps build on the success that you want, as well as that being able to have more energy for the things that you want to do in life. So being able to have more energy for that is another awesome thing to be able to have. So you probably thinking, what could you do with more energy? What would that bring you? Another good problem that Jeff had from it was he had to buy some new clothes. So, and buy new clothes as clothes fit comfortably. So, which is awesome that he could fit in some new clothes and wear some things that he wanted to wear and look pretty great in it. So, another thing that you're probably wanting to gain from this as well is to have some of your clothes fit comfortably and have to see from there. So let's go into how this was able to happen and the reason you're here, right? To learn these secrets and to see how Jeff was able to do this. So even before you begin, you're probably in that stage of contemplating some things. In that stage of contemplation call, these are the things where you reflect and you know that you want to make a change. And you might not be sure exactly how to make that change and exactly how to do some things. And this is a stage where you're really thinking about the things, okay, what do I need to do to make this happen? What is a success? And probably have done this before. So you might be thinking, okay, what do I need to do to not make the mistakes I made? What is a new thing I need? Looking for that new solution. What is the best thing that is going to help me be there? You might look to see what's happened for somebody you know personally, how they were successful. You might search through the internet and look for thousands of things that will probably fill up on their search and can cause some confusion. So this can be causing some issues, and you might think, okay, let me try a different new diet, which most people do. So it might be the keto, might be the paleo, intermittent vegan, which is so many different ones that are out there. So you might be thinking that, because you want clarity on the situation, so you think you have to do that. And what you think you have to do is, okay, I got to make so many different changes in my diet, right? I have to. You probably know that over the time you have been eating too much, so you've been overeating, and overeating has caused you to, of course, gain some weight. So okay, I need to, of course, eat less. So you think about eat less, you're probably thinking I need to be so restricted to be able to do that. And this is what really causes people to really hate dieting, and they have those effects of struggles with it because you get so restrictive, it causes issues. So which causes you to kind of binge, right? And if you're thinking about binging, you might be very successful during the week. Then on a weekend, you start binging. So when you're binging on a weekend, you kind of lose some of the progress you make, or you don't make as much progress through the week because you're going through this binge. Or you could be going through the success, during your weight loss of doing some things. So you might be losing a little bit of weight, doing some things like that. But because you're binging, you're losing the progress because, like I said, you're feeling restrictive. This is similar to what I like to say, a rebellion that you might be used to of when you're a teenager, right? When you start growing up and you're doing things and you want more freedom and being restricted from your parents, what do you typically do? You rebel because you're like, I don't want to, follow these rules. I don't want to do that. But typically what that causes is more headaches. So what you really want to have happen when you are starting this diet is not to go through a feeling of regretting, a feeling of not liking your diet, or feeling like you're going to be restricted, because all that happens from that is issues and problems. And that's what you want to avoid. So you might be feeling like this: I have to cut calories by removing a lot out of my diet. So you might feel like I make a huge overhaul and do all these things, right, that I just stated. And all that's going to do is cause struggles. And if you diet and you're not feeling great about it, it causes the mental fatigue. It causes all the different things to happen with it, and doesn't really come to a good feeling. So you don't want to have that happen, but you need to do something, right? So you're serious clarity about it. So what do you need to do? Well, what you need to do is one of the first secrets, and it's not about eating less, because like I said, that's going to cause you issues. You really just need to learn how to eat more to properly fuel yourself. So eating more to properly fuel yourself. So I know that kind of goes against the common logic, right? Oh, I eat less. I got to eat less. I got to cut all this out. That's not what you need to do. You actually need to eat more to properly fuel yourself. So not probably eating more of the foods that you might be eating too much of, but eating more of the foods that you need to eat of. That's going to really help you. And when you're eating more of these foods, these are going to properly fuel yourself to get the effects that you need. This is what you're going to love out of it. And this is what's going to help you get to where you need to be at. And by doing this is where you start seeing the change. So when I was working with Jeff, it was not about, like I said, the restriction, not saying, hey, you can't eat this, you can't eat that, but about, okay, these are the foods we need to eat more of. And if we could eat more of these foods, these are going to really help you be able to lose that fat and have the healthy lifestyle you want. So when you think about it, it's eating more foods that you're probably familiar with, but you're probably not eating enough of, right? And eating more of these are really going to help you. So, one thing working with Jeff, he just said, hey, I probably got to cut down on these sweets a little bit. And the easy substitute for that was eating more fruit. So, eating more fruit, which is, gives you a lot of good amount of sugar, but the great thing about it that's different from eating some of your sweets, it doesn't have all the extra fat and all the extra high carbs else that you're going to get with it that's going to cause you to overeat. So, when you think about it, it's really about eating more of these nutrient dense foods. And nutrient dense just means it's high in nutrients. Some of the other foods that might not be the best for you are just foods that are really higher in calorie density. So if you think calorie density, you think of something like, for example, like M&Ms. So if you think about M&Ms, for example, you could probably eat a whole pouch of those, no problem, won't even notice. And you could eat another second one of those, no problem. But compared to something that's very nutrient dense, let's say broccoli, for example, right? If I told you to eat 2 cups of broccoli, which is a pretty good amount, you're probably gonna not feel like you need to eat more after that. Versus if you ate 2 cups of M&Ms, which are very high in calories, and you're going to overshoot your calorie for the day very easily by doing that. But eating the 2 cups of broccoli, you're not even looking at 50 calories. So you can see how the big difference of eating certain foods. It's not that you're eating less, but you're eating more of some foods that are going to help you. So as I just mentioned with Jeff, it was cutting back on some of these sweets by eating more of these fruits, which will still give him the fix of he wanted the sweet tooth and give the taste that he needs, but without sacrificing his calories. So he was able to be able to keep fat off by doing that. And when you do that, you'll notice a big difference. Because, like I said, you're not going to be able to really overeat on some of these foods, and it's going to keep you in check. And the real reason this is because these foods are better for you as far as your hunger is concerned. And this is a term we call satiety. Satiety is basically how long you're going to stay full. Because what you don't want to have happen when you're doing a diet is you feel hungry, because what you're going to do is going to lead to you making bad decisions. And that's not what you want. You shouldn't be feeling hungry in diet. So it's probably what type of foods you're eating. So really think about the food content. The food content is the big difference. With food content, that's when you start really noticing the things that you need to have happen. And with food content, that is what helps you. So some people think with fruit, for example, oh, that's bad because it's high in sugar. Well, the big difference is with the fructose, which is the natural fruit sugar, is it breaks down your body fine, but the big difference is you're not getting all those extra calories. So even though it's high in sugar, that's the sugar isn't the issue. The issue is all the extra calories you're getting. So you need to be eating more foods that are more satiety, and these are foods that are like high in fiber, high in protein. Eating more of these are going to be a real big difference for you. So look here on this chart, this satiety index. So this satiety index was developed almost 30 years ago in a study. So they had studied, how different foods are reacting to different people, or how full they're going to be. So they used different um, people to look at the servings. And they kept the servings the same to see how saturated that person would be. So basically, how full they would be after they eat that. So it was based off of the 100% scale, which is the white bread there, and then everything was based off of that. How much full they'd be from these different servings. So this satiety index is something that I really base what I do around with my nutrition, what I do with my clients was really help them is to guide them to the foods that are going to be on the left side, the foods that are higher on satiety. So eating more of these versus foods on the right, which you want to eat less of because they're not very high in satiety at all. So that's what causes you to overeat versus these foods. So if you can look at this, look at the foods on the left. You see the potatoes, you see the oatmeal, you see the apples, you see beef, you see the beans, you see the whole grain bread. And then on the far right, what do you see? You see the croissant, you see the donuts, you see the candy bar, you see yogurt. I would probably say with that yogurt, that's probably, I would figure, not Greek yogurt. So some of you might look at that and say, why is that so low? So regular yogurt is different than, if you might know, Greek yogurt, which is higher in protein and lower in calories. So I'm sure if it was Greek yogurt, I would bet that it would be over the 100% tile, and you'd be better off versus yogurt, regular yogurt. So that's something to consider there. I know that might shock you because there's a lot of push to eat yogurt and everything, and I think it's really great. But like I said, it's a big difference from Greek yogurt and regular yogurt with that, because like I said, the Greek yogurt is higher in protein, which makes a difference. You can see on the left, high protein, high fiber is ruling the day on the left side, because these are the foods that are going to help you be more fuller, and which is great. So think about when you are making these changes, eating higher protein, eating higher fiber is going to be really good for you. And that's what this satiety index is based off. And this is what I have worked on my clients. So it's very important that you really tap into that. All right, so we do know, okay, we need to eat more of those type of foods to saturate ourselves. But you probably heard before, like, hey, there are foods that are bad, right? There are foods that are bad, there are foods that are good. And this is all about to make sure you understand that there are no emotions with food. What you really need to be working on through this process is improving your relationship with food. If you do not improve your relationship with food, you will continue to struggle because you don't understand how this is. You got to understand if ultimately the food is to fuel you. Food is to fuel you. You need to be in tune with your body by listening to your body to understand when you're actually hungry versus when there's your appetite. So remember, hunger is a need to eat, and your appetite is a desire to eat. So you really got to understand the difference with this. So people kind of get these confused and think, oh, these are why foods are bad for you, this, that. No, you just need to understand how they react in your body and how they're going to work for you. So, in today's age, we're always, claiming this food is the best for you, this food is bad. And you have all these different gurus and experts tell you something different, and it gets confusing, right? You have so many information. But what I like to back off of is the actual science-based evidence of what is actually happening. And that's something you should do as well, is to focus on that science-based evidence. And this is where all these secrets are coming from. So, you don't have to base off of this. So you probably heard this before. Carbs are the reason I'm fat, or carbs are bad for me. So you might have said that. I've heard this often. And this is something that has been really happening for some reason. For the last 20 or 25 years, carbs have been used as the scapegoat for the obesity crisis that we're going on right in this country, right? Carbs are being targeted and saying, hey, eliminate all carbs. The most popular diet that rules the day is, of course, keto. And keto is very very low in carbs, where you're basically getting no carbs, and your body doesn't rely on another energy source to even function. You need to understand carbs is actually a great fuel source for your body, and you need it throughout your day, to be on top of your game, not for just working out, but your mental fatigue. It's not saying that you can't adapt to it, but just understand it. This is about eating the foods that you enjoy, eating the foods that you love. You shouldn't feel that you can't do that because of, someone says, don't do this, don't eat that. And that's not true. It's about understanding how these foods are going to work for you. So, carbs aren't the reason that are making people obese. Carbs aren't the reason that people can't lose weight. It's not happening. So, people have kind of claimed that insulin, so if you're not familiar, insulin is the hormone that you have as soon as you eat. So it uptakes the energy so you can fuel your rest of your cells. And people claim, well, because people are insulin resistant for diabetes, it has to be because of insulin. But that's just more the effect. The effect of overeating is causing that. This is why somebody can reverse type 2 diabetes, because if they start eating right and they start losing weight, you can reverse that. It's not always 100% the case, of course, but you can be able to reverse some of these stuff because these are healthy lifestyle changes. So it's not the carbs, right? So if it's not the carbs, then what could it be, right? So secret number two evolves around just that. Elimination of carbs is a need to lose fat. So it's not the carbs, it's the type of food you eat. So just as we have stated in the satiety index, you can see that difference of content is really what you need to understand. It's a difference of content of the food that is the to blame, not the whole food group. So if you think about macronutrients, those are your carbs, your fats, and your proteins. Each of those are a little bit different. So the big thing you need to just know about that is it's more about the calories. More about the calories are making the big difference with that. So of course with carbs, certain carbs, we have complex carbs and they can really rack up the calories, but it's really about how high the servings and so many different types. But carbs are not to blame. So when I was working with Jeff, it was really just to break it down like, hey, these are some of the great foods that you're going to need in your diet by the carbs are. As you can see within that satiety index that I previously had shown, you can see oatmeal was up there, potatoes, a whole grain bread, and those are carbs. But look what type of carbs they are. They're not processed carbs, so they're natural. Those are the carbs that are high in fiber. So when you eat those, you're not going to typically overeat on those. It's not saying that you don't have to watch your serving sizes. You still need to watch your serving sizes, but these aren't the foods that are going to cause you to completely have issues. These are foods that you can eat and you'll be okay if you understand what you're doing. Trust me, it's not the carbs. I can show you right here this diagram of how carbs are distributed across the globe, right? So if you think about it, on average here, we eat typically 55 to 60% of carbs, and we have one of the highest obesities in the whole world, right? We're very high with obesity. But if you can see the breakdown, so basically the darker the blue, the higher the carb consumption is. So let's look to the right of the map in some of these other countries that are actually very healthy, have very low obesity. So if we look at Asia, for example, you can see they get really high in carbs. 70, 75, 80% of their calories per day are in carbs. And they have some of the lowest obesity rates in the world. Why us is 35 now with probably COVID, a little bit over 40%. Theirs is less than 1/10 of that. They're looking at 6 to 3% obesity rate. Like, how can that be if they're eating carbs? Right? If carbs are so bad and cause them to gain the fat because the insulin, all this stuff, it's not really that. You can see it's the overconsumption of the total calories. Because on this side, you can see that they're not struggling from that. Even look in Africa, for example, where you see people are more malnutrition. Of course, they're not even eating enough, and they're very high in carbs. So you can see it's not really the carbs; it's really the amount of consumption. So us in our Western world, like us and some of the other countries, we just eat too much. We eat too much. Obviously, we have more resources, right? Because we're more wealthier, we have more money, so we're not really struggling to eat like some of these other countries, which is another factor, right? But we're just overeating. So you can see that is a real big difference. There is that problem, but it's not the carbs essentially itself. So you can see which these other countries, you can see they're eating more of the non-processed carbs, like I just mentioned, the satiety index. So there's a big difference. So if you eat less of those type of carbs, you'll notice a big difference. That is what you really need to work on. Okay. All right. So we know carbs isn't bad, right? We know carbs isn't bad. We know we don't really have to eat less, right? We know we have to do that. So okay, so we're starting to understand these secrets, right? So this is something we can implement. But you're not addressing what about time, right? I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to eat some of these foods, right? I don't have the time. I'm very busy. I don't have a lot of time. So what does that do for me if I don't have time? So this is probably something you thought about in the past, right? You don't have a lot of time. So how can you eat healthy? This is a reason why you might be eating out more or the type of work you have, right? You might have to entertain people. So you might have to entertain people. So you might have to eat out more. And you might just not have the time, right? Or you don't feel like cooking. Not everybody can be a chef and look at all these recipes from Pinterest and Google, right? That might just not be for you. You don't want to spend all that time doing it, which is understandable. You don't have to do that. So you might be feeling like this. If I don't cook all my meals, I won't have my dream body. I've heard this before. So I don't have time to cook. I don't. So why even waste my time, right? If I don't have time to cook, I might as well just continue to do what I'm doing. I'm here to tell you, do not have to cook though. You don't have to cook. You do not have to be the greatest meal prep. You don't have to, have all your week meal prepping. And I understand you don't have a lot of time. You might not want to do that. It doesn't work for everybody. It's not that meal prep isn't not a great tactic to in order to lose fat and to be able to get the results you want. That might just not be the best thing for you, right? It might not be the best thing for you just because, like I said, you do feel limited in your time. You might not have as much experience cooking, or you don't like cooking, which is understandable. I understand. Or you might not want to cook all your meals, right? Which we understand as well. You might only want to cook some of your meals. So what do you do about that? And you're still messing up on some of those things, right? So this is something we need to address. This is something that you have to have. But I'm here to tell you, meal prep isn't necessary to lose fat. It's not. Trust me, you do not have to meal prep to do this. You don't even have to come home each day and cook every meal. You don't. What? You're probably thinking, that can't be. You have to, right? You have to. How else am I going to eat healthier if I don't meal prep? If I don't meal prep, how am I going to eat healthier? You're probably telling yourself this. What am I supposed to do if I'm not meal prepping? I get it. You might be feeling this way. Chef kind of felt the same way, but I told Jeff, hey, I'm not going to do something that doesn't work for you. And it doesn't work for you, you can still eat out how you were. So Jeff ate out 6 times a week. What? And he lost the weight. You're probably like, how? How? Because he understood about choices. And this is what you should be taking away from this. Of course, like I said, how to lose fat and keep it off without the diet restrictions. This is what all these secrets are revolved around. They all lined up in sync. It's about your choices. So I laid out the guidelines for Jeff to understand, like, hey, these are the foods that you pick from menu. These are foods that you base off of, and it goes off of some of the same things I just went over as far as understanding how different foods work for you. That's what it's about. It's about these food content. Not every food is created equal, right? When you think about it, because like I said, if you think about the weight of certain foods in different servings, different servings can be different things. They're gonna involve different calories. So, like I talked about before, if you're talking about M&Ms compared to broccoli, and if I compare the same weight of broccoli compared to M&Ms, it's going to be drastically more calories. And that's what it's about. It's about these food content that you have to think about. These certain foods are causing way more than others. That's what you need to understand. So what you're really changing is how this food content is broken up to you, how you're choosing the right foods that you need to eat. And that's what it was with Jeff is getting to understand. Hey, if you choose these foods, you stay within your calories, you're going to lose fat, and this is something you can use for a lifetime. These are things that that you need to do to have a healthy lifestyle. You are not forced to eat like you think you have to because people are saying meal prep, meal prep, meal prep, meal prep. It's not that you can't. I mean, you can go to some meal prep services to get your meals done too, as well, if you wouldn't want to cook. But you don't have to do that either. You can choose the foods that you like. If you like eating out more because you just don't want to deal with it, fine. There's no problem with that. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can eat off of the foods that you like, whatever that is. Go to the grocery store, whatever. It's not a necessity. So one thing that I want you to take away from this is your diet and your customized. Eat foods that you love. If you don't eat foods that you love, you're gonna struggle. You need to eat foods that you enjoy. Obviously, you need to understand how to not overeat, and that's what this is about. By eating more foods that are going to be good for you, is what's really going to make the difference. The reason this is important is because if not, you will just continue the weight cycle because you're not understanding. So, like I said with Jeff, he could eat out 6 times a week and he would still lose the weight. It did not matter because he understood the choices were going to make the difference. So that is a big takeaway. So look at this, for example. Very popular restaurant, right? Chick-fil-A. I'm sure a lot of us love it. Great service, right? This is a great diagram by If It Fits Your Macros Academy. That's what it stands for. So if it fits your macros is a big acronym in our fitness, or a lot of people follow. Just basically means if it fits within the macros of that, you can basically eat different foods because you understand how it works. So if you look at Chick-fil-A, look at this menu for example. If you're thinking about Chick-fil-A for one, what do they really specialize in? Chicken, right? If you think about chicken, high protein, right? Lean, fat. So it's very good on the satiety index, right? Because high in protein is very good. So, certain restaurants like this is going to be something where you're going to probably find a little bit more options. But you can do this for any fast food restaurant or any other restaurant in general. One thing you need to understand is we're in an age where they understand that you guys want to make more health conscious decisions. So they have a lot of more items on the menu than you could say maybe 20, 15 years ago, where everything was about eating more. But they understand that we are being more health conscious. People are taking some things serious. So they understand that you don't have the time, so you're still going to eat out and you're going to pick some of these choices. So they do understand that. So, even if you're going outside of Chick-fil-A or other different restaurants, they're going to have some items. You just look on there. And because of a lot of government push, a lot of these items actually do have the calories on there. Even when you go through the drive-through, they will tell you the breakdown. They'll tell you the fats, the carbs, the protein. They will go over the macronutrients. We know this is a movement that people want to have. So when you look at that, look at some of these items. These are under 500 calories. And if you think about it, for most of you to lose a weight, you just have to be under 2,000 calories. So you can enjoy to have some of these sometimes and you'll be fine. So, I mean, look at that. The grilled nuggets, for example, 140 calories, 25 grams of protein. Wow, look at that breakdown. Very high in protein. You don't have, obviously, the bread or anything. So that's why it's so uh, good for you to fire as far as your calories. Now, of course, that is not accounting for any sauce that you might use, right? So you might have to create your own sauce that could be maybe lower in calories. You might have to watch that, right? But as you can see, very low in the calories there. Some of the other items you can see the grilled chicken, cool wrap. You can see that. You can see some of the chicken, some of the other stuff, the salads. Like I said, you do have to. The one thing that you need to understand from some of these stuff that I'm not mentioning is do still account for any additives that you're going to have. So your sauces, any some of the cooking oils, anything like that, that can cause a little bit more extra calories. But as you can see, there are options that for somebody to choose from. And like I said, they will help because, like I said, those some of these items are higher in the protein, higher in the fiber, which would be good. So what you should take away from this is, okay, I can see from these items, I'm learning how to lose fat for good without these restricted practices because I'm stalling within my calories. I'm understanding how the food content's working, and I understand how this is going to benefit me. I can see I do not have to be restricted with that. So, like I said, you can do this for tons of your other things if you do eat out, in your social dinners with family. Even if you have family dinners and stuff like that, you can still probably eat certain items that are going to be good. I know, like I said, it can be hard when certain people might eat differently than you and you might feel pressure, but it's up to you to limit the temptations to not let this get in your way. So like I said, Jeff understood that. He followed the same thing, and that's how he was able to lose the fat. So I had people in the past, like I said, this comes up a lot. I know a lot of people say, "Hey, I'm so busy. I have to eat. I have to do this. I don't have time." Well, as you can see, it's your choices. Nobody's telling you to always eat the pizza, always to eat the high fat burger, all these different fried food, right? You can choose things that are going to be healthier for you. So it's up to you to make those choices. So you're probably wondering, okay, you learn those three secrets, right? You learn that you need to eat more to properly fuel yourself, right? You learn that you don't have to eliminate carbs. You can still enjoy the carbs that you love. You just have to choose the right type of carbs. And you learn you don't have to meal prep. So the time is one of the big excuses you don't have to have anymore. You can eat out freely, guilt free, and still be able to get the results, right? So you're probably wondering, well, how do I put this together, right? How do I put this together, Lee? How do I do this? Because I mean, this is some things, but how do I put this together? So next, what I want to go over with you is how I have adopted my system to help my clients. And this is something that you can adopt for yourself. This is also what you're going to give away as long as you stay fit the whole time of the webinar, how to get this busy professional blueprint for a fit lifestyle so you can be able to put this together yourself. So when you think about it, you might be where you're at with the A side right now: overweight, tired, lack of confidence. But you want to get to the B side, right? Fit, energized, self-confident. So there's some steps by steps to get there, right? There's some things and pieces that you need to put together, right? Big part is building the foundation. So for you, anybody that's probably familiar with house, if you have a house or you sell houses for a living, you probably understand how important the foundation is, right? If you don't build the foundation right in the house, what's going to happen? You're going to have a lot of problems later, right? And have some cracks, and what you know, a house, if the foundation is bad, it's no good. You got to build a new house, right? Same thing applies to you. If you don't build your foundation right, you're going to keep being the same position you're at. You're going to keep weight cycling forever. You're going to have those issues that you have if you don't correct some of these things that you're doing. Very important that you do this. If not, you'll be in the same spot you're at. So this is what I really build when I'm working with clients and I'm first taking them on. I get them to understand, hey, we got to build this foundation. If we don't build this foundation for yourself, you're going to have issues. So the very first step is road mapping. You got to know where you got to get to, right? We need to know where you want to get to. If I don't know where you need to get to, or you don't know, how are you going to get there? You have to know where you need to get to. You got to know the destination. You got to know the destination. You need to know how you're going to get there. So during this process, you need to be asking yourself, why? Why do I want to have a healthy lifestyle? Why do I have the goals for myself? What is that going to bring to me in life? Because what you want, your desire, or needs is about fulfilling something, right? So why? Why? So you need to ask yourself a bunch of whys of why. Then you need to say, how am I going to get there? How am I going to get there? What are the paths that I need to get there? What are the things that might be the hazards? What are some of the detours that I might have on the way to get there, right? That is something that you need to do. That's what I identify with my clients when I first get started. I tell them, I am your GPS as your coach to guide you on a path to your goals to get to the healthy lifestyle you have. I guide you to be clear free for some of the things that you might go through. So if you're not working with me, you're going to have to start this with yourself, right? So think about, if we use the analogy of a road mapping, that's why I created it, because it's very similar. Like I said, if I'm your GPS and you turn on your GPS with your phone, how do you get to a destination, right? So you just start driving your car, you start driving, you didn't know where you're going, you probably waste a lot of gas, a lot of money, and you might you might be in an accident or so, right? Because you have no clue where you're going. This is what happens to a lot of people when they get started. They don't have a clear. They think they know their goals, but they don't understand a clear path to get to it, and that's what causes some issues on the road. It's like somebody that doesn't know that, hey, I got a detour. This road is closed. There's an accident here. I don't know what the alternate route is. That is something that's typical of somebody's dealing with within their making their lifestyle, and it's something that you need to utilize for you know different areas in life as well, because that's what helps you. So you got to know these different things that are going to get in your way. If you don't identify this, as you're going to cause problems. This is part of the foundation. So think about, if you didn't know where you're going to go, you say, hey, I want to go to Chicago to LA, right? Now you at least have your goal, right? You have your goal, but you still need to know the route, right? You still need to know that GPS. That's why you turn your GPS on, right? So you know where you need to go, all the different things. And that's what you got to do for yourself. You got to lay it out. And one thing about this is not that, oh, it's a clear cut concrete route that never changes. It's just like GPS. What happens to GPS? It informs, hey, there's an accident here. Oh, it's slow down with traffic. It gives you alternate routes, right? Oh, there's a new detour here. Or uh, ahead, it might tell you, hey, stop speeding. Police is ahead. So the same thing that I do with my clients about using GPS, you got to do for yourself. And you got to be adaptable. So you can't have that just clear cut. It's another step in the foundation as you move along. So as you can see, is the supreme fuel. Got to properly be able to fuel yourself. This is really what most of this talk is about, right? Of putting these secrets in. It starts and ends with the diet. We could say it's 90%, 80, whatever you want to say. It starts and ends with the diet. If you do not correct this, if you don't start fueling yourself properly, you're not going to get the benefits that you want of living the healthy lifestyle you want. So these are the things you need to do. You need to have a diet analysis to kind of look at some of the things you're doing. You need to look at yourself wholeheartedly, be like, okay, what are some of the things that are tripping me up? Is it the eating out too much? I'm eating out too much. Is it social? Was it dinners with that? Is it, need a lack of time? So I'm not, strategizing right, and I'm just eating whatever. Am I an emotional eater? Am I letting emotions cause me to overeat? Do I just have a habit of eating because I'm just used to doing that, right? So when I'm watching TV, I'm just so used to snacking. Is that some part of me? How do I need to change that, right? The stress that gets to me at work, so I start eating more, I start snacking. You need to identify these things. You might have to clear out your pantry to get rid of some of these things, right? So you don't have the temptations and put some new things in that are going to help you. Very important that you have that, because if you don't correct that part, like I said, these are the foundational steps. All these are foundational, so you have to have these. As you see, there's mindset is another one as far as the foundation. And you might be wondering, mindset. A lot of people only focus on the fitness nutritional side, right? When you typically are going to buy something in this fitness industry, what are you typically it's about? This new diet, supplements, cleanses. Oh, it is the greatest, latest, and greatest workout program, right? But they don't focus on the mindset. And mindset is everything. This is why I tackle mindset with my clients, because there's you got to identify there's something wrong with your mindset if you're not where you need to be at. You got to hold yourself accountable with that. You have to identify what is actually holding you back. Mindset is going to control these healthy habits to happen to you. This is what's going to help you be sustainable, because you understand your mindset that you need for this. You get it. And once you get it, that's when you start unearthing these things that you need. So mindset is everything. And that's why I really coach my clients the whole time through a program transformation to happen, because they need the mindset. You got to work on your mindset yourself. Because if you don't, you let outside distractions get to you. So it could be anything. You let stuff stop you. It could be COVID, it could be politics, it could be anything that happens in life, work. But if you have the right mindset, you understand how to work on this, how to adjust on this, and that's very important. So these are learning the foundations. And the real game changer that you start to see is is within your workouts is once you have a elite performance plan. So obviously most of this talk is dealt with the nutritional side, which is the most important. But you still need a performance plan, because this is what's going to help in the process as you sustain the fat loss. And this is not about consuming your life in a gym. Less than 2% a week that you need to dedicate to being fit, which you can do. But what you need to do is understand how to put a plan together that's going to be efficient for you, that allows you to be consistent, but is not going to take too much of your time. So very important that you have that part into your program of understanding that elite performance side is very important. So putting some of these pieces together and laying the foundation, this is where you start. Like I said, this is the game changer stuff. This is where you start laying the other things. You can see feeling like a powerhouse. So this is where I really say this is where you start getting that boost of energy. This is where your energy starts getting high, and you start noticing you have more energy in your days for work, for whatever you want to do in your personal life, and even in your workouts, you start noticing this one, because you're starting to fuel yourself properly. You're being improving your conditioning through your workouts. Everything's starting to come together. You being a powerhouse is going to lead to you being more stressed, so you have more energy to do the things you want. Right? Think about when you're tired, when you're lethargic. You don't want to get things done. You're cranky. Your mood is wrong. If you got more energy, you stop having the excuse, I can't do this, I can't do that. You might be able to do trips that you didn't think you could do possibly because you didn't have enough energy. Or you can hang out with the kids more. You can keep up with them because now you have more energy. What is that going to do with your relationships in life if you got more energy for stuff, right? Game changer. And this is what one of the first things my clients notice, and this is why they want more energy. And from this process, you might still look at the next thing, muscle machine. Well, I'm not looking to be a bodybuilder. I'm not looking to be a powerlifter. I'm not looking to be a weightlifter. Why do I need to be a muscle machine? So you might be confused on that. Muscle machine is a very important step that I have in this process with my clients. And I tell them the reason you need to become a muscle machine and what you need to learn is your metabolism is everything. So typically, notice why I say fat loss and not weight loss. Weight loss can be everything. You can lose muscle, you can lose a lot of other stuff that's not going to be good for you. But being a muscle machine, you keep your metabolism high. This is what's going to keep the fat off, because if your metabolism is right, you're going to be good. Think about as you're already aging, your metabolism is already slowing down. You don't want to slow down your metabolism even more by losing muscle. So this is about the lean muscle you have, and that these processes are done by eating properly, sleeping right, performance. You start turning your body to that muscle machine. Then from there, that's part of that recalibration. So all the times that you've used over the years of this recycling, by doing things right, you start to have these healthy habits come together. These healthy habits are what you want. So think about whatever your goal is. It could be a short-term goal, which is fine, but you always need to see the bigger picture. The ultimate bigger picture is the healthy lifestyle. If you don't have the healthy lifestyle, this is where you can have the conditions develop, where you have to take medication later in life, or you're currently on medication. This is where you start being in more pain, all the other stuff. If you don't understand how you need to have the healthy habits be part of the healthy lifestyle, or it never happens. This is how you're going to be able to live the fit lifestyle that you want, because you're starting to have the healthy habits. And these are by doing these things and being conscious of it. That's part of the mindset, being conscious. It's part of eating right, part of fueling yourself right, part of the recovery. You start putting these healthy habits together. It's part of the recalibration. And these are habits that you can continue to do and that you don't have to give up by doing these. This is the reason I push on things that are sustainable, not things that are just hard, just challenges that people think and they're easy to give up from there. Or some of the other different diets things, and these are why we don't do these fad diets or stuff like that. Why I don't want you to do anything like that. You need these healthy habits to stick. And so from having these healthy habits, you're gonna start feeling like you're on cloud nine. You're gonna start feeling like you have more energy and start feeling good. As you see with Jeff after that, after transformation, you start feeling great. People start complimenting, people start telling you, hey, you're starting to make these changes, you're starting to look better, right? You're starting to look really good, right? You get the compliments, you start noticing your clothes are fitting better. You look in the mirror, you're like, man, look at me, I look like $1 million. That's part of the process because you're starting to feel better because everything is coming together for you, right? Everything is coming together for you of what you need. And that's what you also want to feel. This is about having the lifestyle you want, feeling better. It's not about just looking at the scale, right? It's about you want these extra benefits that are going to help give you the lifestyle you want. So this is really what this is about. You're feeling better and everything like that. So that is really the next step. And also, the last one is where you want to get to, right? Lifestyle success. And all these things that you do, this is what's going to help you live that healthy lifestyle that you want. Now, this healthy lifestyle that you want is doable because of that, right? Because you're doing all these things together. This is all what you want. If you do these things and you're not putting all the pieces together to get the lifestyle you want, you're wasting your time. You're wasting investment. You put in yourself. Time is the most valuable thing in life, right? So you don't want to waste your time. And if you get involved in hiring somebody like myself as an expert, or spending all this money and your investment doesn't pay off, you waste it. That's not what you want. As you can see, you want to be fit, energized, self-confident, right? Want to be able to do the things that you want. So your why, but like I said, is different for each person. But what is it that you want? Is it how you felt before? How you loved how you were before in your younger days? Is it wanting to play more with the kids? Is it wanting to be pain free? All these things are going to be great benefits, right? And this is all part of the process of putting this all together. And this is a system. This is a system that you can develop. You can develop my system and use this to work with yourself to help you get there. So building the foundation, then being a game changer, right? Being a game changer, having that recalibration. These are all things that you need to put together to have the healthy lifestyle. And this is why I said the busy professional blueprint for a fit lifestyle. And this is system I use. And like I said, for the ones that do stay to the end, I'll tell you how you can get this. I do have the blueprint written out for you, and you can hold a copy with this and continue to use it for yourself. That's going to be very valuable for you. So highly recommend that you do still stick around to the end to get that. So very good information for you to use. These are how you have to start putting the secrets of fat loss together. So you might be wondering, well, what are the next steps, right? One thing is, of course, with knowledge, right? It's good to consume the knowledge, good to consume knowledge, but it means nothing, right? Means nothing if you're not willing to take action. So I hope one thing you need to take away, of course, I just went over the steps of how to lose fat for good without restrictive practices, right? Because this is what you want, right? You want the healthy lifestyle. You want to be able to get all these things for yourself, right? Which you deserve. But it means nothing if you don't take action. If you're not going to take action from the things that you learned from there, you won't gain anything out of this. It'll just be something you had in your head and it just goes out the door, right? You got to take action and build on these things. You got to be able to take action on stuff. You don't take action, you're wasting your time. I don't want you to have that from this. This is why I want to give away these secrets. These are true gems. These are things that are not too complicated and not too difficult. And these are things that I've helped change hundreds of lives because of that, because they understand that these things are going to be very valuable for them to be able to do. This is something that you're going to need. So you need to take action. You have the power. So one thing to know from this, you have the power to do the thing. If you do not act on that power, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. And you're going to continue to struggle. You'll continue to weight cycle. And you'll be like the other 90% of people that even if you have a successful weight transformation because you're not putting these principles together, you're going to continue to struggle and have the things that you don't want to have happen to you, right? But the great thing is, no, take action. Be proactive. Do not be a reactive person to keep procrastinating. They'll be like, this was a great talk, Lee, but you know what? I'm going to wait till next month. I'm going to wait till the month after. No, you need to start from today with this stuff and to do this. And you might be wondering, well, how can I put all this stuff together? It's so difficult. I have a busy life. What can I do to put together? Well, like I said, I just kind of went into the system, everything. I can help you put some of these things together. So what you should go to is my website, ltaperformance365.com. So make sure that you are writing this stuff down. On the website, you're going to see kind of more, I go into depth of some of the other things I included within me of my coaching style. You'll see some other success stories with some of the other clients of what they've done and some of the testimonies that they will say from there. But the great thing that you can do on this website is reach out for help. The most successful people in life understand how, leaning on these extras, reaching these goals are done by having someone help you put it together. So why not book your free transformation call that I have available for you, where you can put a game plan together? There's no obligation of you having to sign up to coaching. I mean, the coaching, like I said, might be an option from this based off of this. You might understand that you do need it, but at least from taking away from the call, you will learn exactly what you need to do with you. So one thing you should get from this is, with these things, the secrets or even principles or understanding evidence, you put this together for you. You're different as an individual. Each person is different. Like I said, we have a lot of different things that go on with us. So what you need to understand is that you're putting this together to customize for you. You're putting this together to help yourself, right? So you're putting this together to help yourself to be able to get the results you want. So what you need to understand from that is it's about putting this together and customize it. So with this call, you get a free game plan together to put this together. You can book that, like I said, directly on this my site to be able to get there. Like I said, take advantage of it, guys. Take advantage of it. Like I said, you're nothing if you don't put in the action. So you have the power to do the thing. Let's do the thing. That's one thing I want you to take away from this is, how do you put this together? So the next steps. I want to answer any questions you may have. I know I've been streaming this on live as well, so I want to make sure